Hey, greetings everybody. What's up? How are you? Welcome to the channel. My name is Alckemy. Today we're going to be doing some more sound design in Serum 2. There's been a really fun hype train in the past few days over the recent release, and I'm glad that I can be a part of it and help kind of, I don't know, just be somebody that's able to be in a position to talk about it and bring people together. With that being said, before we do anything, we are going to go ahead and play the everydays that we have from our Discord. If you don't know what that is, it's something that I got from the Upscale people. Shout out to Frequent and Hudson. They're both good friends of mine. But what we do here is every day, or whenever you feel like uploading, I have this segment to where you can play 15 seconds or upload 15 seconds of a snippet of a song or a thing or whatever. And I like to play that at the beginning of every stream. And I think that this is a small way that I can give back to the community, also highlight some of your skills, some of your talents. Just please don't do what Michael did and upload 3 minutes. I need 15 seconds because there's probably going to be a lot of submissions. So yeah, it's just a way to show some appreciation for the community. And I think that I should have been doing this for years, to be honest, but it's kind of like reading the headlines, if that makes sense. Hey, Jack, what's up? Glad to catch a stream. I'm an ex-Ubisoft and ex-Activision sound designer. Been watching for a while, big inspo. Wow, dude, that's so cool. Man, I have questions. No, yeah, that's freaking awesome. No, it's okay, Michael. Just don't worry about it. But yeah, let me figure out where the submissions from the last stream started. And this is just a way to hold everyone accountable. Hey, Gloom, what's up? Yeah, so you don't have to do it. You can participate when you want to. You can do whatever, but I think that is just kind of cool if you want to show some stuff and, do your thing. So I think that the last cutoff point that we have is from Zetvu. I don't care if you have multiple submissions. Just only do one per day, though, okay? If that's fair. Like, don't barrage me with a teaser trailer for your latest, trap EP that every beat sounds the same. Do something that's more on the lines of like, all right, this is an idea, and span it out so that way we're not here for 2 hours. Yeah, maybe. I don't know. We'll see how far this goes, and if it picks up speed, then maybe I'll have to break it up in some way or whatever, but we'll cross that bridge when we get there. Anyways, thank you all for joining me today. Let's go ahead and play the everydays and see what we have. Wow, that was fucked. I think I'll toss a reaction to, like, I don't care if you're not here while you do this. I'm just going to play everyone's out anyways. 15 seconds is not asking too much of my time. That was nice. Sick. Check on me, but wasn't subbed, but we'll make sure to sub there too. Oh, thanks. This is dope. Yeah, you don't have to do that. Wherever's clever, doesn't really matter. Wow, Jazz. Did you get this from Modular? I'm sure he'll be in here at some point. That would be such a sick intro for a track. Yeah, that was really cool. I don't know what you did there, but that was sick. Nice, Cora. Shout out to Cora for never following the rules. He actually did this time, though. Hey, 5 minutes is up. I can comment. Let's go. You must wait 5 minutes. That's not my choice, by the way. that's just what YouTube does, I think. That was cool, Danny. Oh, I like those. This is like what you drop as an intermission, but I could totally see this being like an Instagram meme beat, you know, of just like Thomas the Train over it, and it's all distorted with the smiley face or whatever. Even still, I really like that. Yeah, I get it. But still, you know, hey, you did it what you did. Nice. DV. Yeah, I get where you're coming from. Like, I don't know. I used to be like that. I try not to be necessarily boisterous, but I am very proud about being in like Circus LA, or, you know, with my training, having, you know, being under direct lineage from, you know, Bruce Lee and all that other stuff and whatever. So, you know, it's a platform to stand on. You don't have to be like, oh, you know, I was with Activision or whatever. But at the same time, it's like, you did that, you know, like, it's cool. Nobody can take that from you. Yeah, that was cool. Grimtech, another one. Ah, that makes more sense. Yeah, y'all should look out for Grim. He's been cooking lately. That's been some stuff. Some really cool halftime stuff that I've heard from them. I'm not sure what they identify as, but yeah, some really nice stuff. This sounds like the tutorial level to a mini golfing game. Oh, that's Gloom? Gloom? Fuck you. Stop changing your name. Pickups, bro. Philippe is the shapeshifter. All right, Michael, we're going to play 15 seconds of this. We're not going to play the whole 3 minutes. Okay, maybe we will. For thousands of years, I have awaited my resurrection. Through the constructs of those who have followed me throughout the years, they wish to pay me tribute. The Belmonts say that I am a thief. I steal men's souls. But alas, I am here sipping on grape juice, opposed to blood of that of which I am used to. Long before the dawn of time, I have ascended into that of which those humans describe as hell, and have lived to tell the tale, and since have also grown a tail. Can you tell? Just kidding. Michael is, I think he's like a classically trained, or sorry, he's like trained in jazz and stuff. Comes up with some really cool stuff. We have done some fun labbing things, but Michael, 15 seconds, bro. 15 seconds. I had no idea where I was going with that monologue, but okay. So those are the everydays. Thank you all for submitting. That's really cool. I think it's a great way to start the stream. And I know that most of you probably came for the Serum stuff, which we are going to do, but I think that it was, you know, I guess you could just skip ahead or come back in 20 minutes or whatever. I also just wrapped up a comparison video between Serum, Current, Vital, and Pigments. I try not to be super biased, even though it comes out a little bit, but I try to just talk about what is what, and yeah, just go into a brief discussion about what we're doing there. But yeah, so we're going to start with kicks and snares, and maybe make some drums, maybe make some percussive generators and all that stuff. If anybody has any questions along the ride, you're more than welcome to ask. It's going to take a little bit of time to set up, but it'll be worth it, because I'm sure that a lot of people are wondering how to do that kind of stuff. So yeah. Also, is there anything that anybody wants to see or anything in particular that you all want to see me do with this or in something else, feel free to ask. Yeah. So let's get this into here. And then what we will do is grab this and set this to, is there a global pitch? I guess there is. It would probably be easier to do this in the Matrix. The Matrix, starring Keanu Reeves. Let's go with envelope 2, destination global, main tuning. Set this up by quite a bit. And then we want this to be like really short. Okay, we're done. Great job. GG. Kicks are great. And start. I've not had the chance to take a look yet, but since I have Serum, is it a free upgrade? Yeah, it is, but do it now because there's a time limit. Sorry, I need to move. I have the embod me in front of my friend Isaiah came over yesterday and we were fucking around with all the things that I have in the studio. I put one on for next stream. Okay, yeah. Yeah, and if you miss it or whatever, you like miss the deadline or something, you can just catch the next stream and I will play it. So please don't sweat if you miss one or so. So what we're gonna do is I'm actually gonna set this to a filter. There we go. And then what we need to do is we need to just make this really loud. So the first thing that I'm going to do is apply a distortion here. I realized that I was complaining about the Serum not having a clipper. It actually does with some of these. Like no matter how hard you drive this, I think this will keep this at -6. It's just a shame that you can't just click a button on the outside though, but okay. So let's go distort, filter. Distort. And then we want to use an OTT to pull this out with a compressor in multiband mode. Maybe we can set this, yeah, multiband, turn the threshold down. Long attack, long release. Actually, these are already pretty long, so. There we go. And now from here, we can kind of just shape this with different texture and stuff. How stoked are we from multiband effects chaining in Serum 2? Pretty stoked. C round 2. Ah, gotcha. I'll pick it up now. I use envelope shaping in Serum a lot for game sound effects. Would be cool to hear you tackle some reinforcement game sound design. If you can give me an example, I'd be happy to, but I wouldn't know where to start other than like chiptune or something like that, you know? Yeah, that's a pretty rumbly kick off jump. And then really from here, it's kind of just a matter of changing a couple of things. Like we could go into this and instead of the main tuning, we can set this to an LFO. And the thing about LFOs are we can actually build a custom, this would be like your equivalent of kick 2 if you wanted it to be. We want the rate to be in hertz. We want this to be pretty fast. And then we'll change the matrix of this to be one shot. I'm stoked for everything Serum. We can change this as well because this is pretty low, so. And then depending on what you do with the mid-range here kind of dictates what the kick is going to do. The other thing that's kind of interesting about this, which could be an issue, is generally speaking, I don't know if you all hear this or not, but this is not high passed. And so because of that, it kind of makes everything a little bit more rumblier, which is okay, but that's kind of something to consider. I do have a fix for this though. What we could do, what does this map to, if anything? Nothing, nothing, nothing. Is we can send this to main 2 filter is we can actually just send this to filter 2 for one and use this as a high pass, kind of like so, and turn the resonance down. And then we can actually use a leveler here by adding this. We want to shout out to Databroth for this trick to make this non-bipolar, but we can do this and then actually set a delay on this, I believe. Can we do that? Attack, hold, decay, sustain. Is there a delay on this? We might have to. Really? Okay, yeah. Well, that sucks. Something like UI HUD design, electronic beeping, that sort of thing. That would be fun. Okay, I'll keep that in mind. Let me get through the drums first, and then I'll talk about it. Okay. I'm stoked for everything Serum. Although I would drop current for it if it was minimal audio fix the rendering. The GUI is super blurry on Windows. No delay using LFO. Yeah, that's where I was going. Are you saying that Serum's thing is fucked up? So because we have this, one thing that could be interesting is, ooh, yo, oh, this is cool. Okay, so check this out. We can grab this here and open up a spectral thing. And what I'll do is I'll play this and I'll take this and send that into itself for spectral. Now I'll go into the mixer here and send this to bus 1. So that way this is only going to be processed through the bus 1 effects, right? And now because of that, I think, right, if I go into the effects, yeah, if we go into bus 1, and this is kind of, is it hitting main first? Yeah, this is confusing. This should be over here. Duda, if you're watching this, because this is on the left, and then over here, this is on the right. So I think that the routing process goes from here to here to here to here. I hope. We'll find out. But because of that, we can actually do mid-side processing on this like I normally do with drum design. So we can set the mids, leave that alone. And then on this, we can do some really cool stuff, like maybe use an echo boat or something. I'm going to solo this. It's kind of annoying that I have to do that. And then if we go into filtering, we can go into filter 2, so it's also a high pass. Yeah, that's pretty nuts. Mid-side stuff is great addition. Yeah, that's pretty nice. So we can kind of use this to do something like a bode. Wait, side. Maybe a bit crusher. So I guess some kind of distortion. Maybe a small convolution. And then maybe some kind of filter / shelf EQ. Because really the only thing that we need to do with this is just turn the gain down at about 140. So we can kind of listen to the source and see what we have. Yeah, that's kind of crazy. But we can do some physical modeling things with the spectral filter / vocoder, because that's kind of what this is. And just try to create some texture over this, if any, and see what we can get. That's kind of cool. Let's see what else we can do. Maybe we can go vocoder A. We'll just turn this down for now. Okay, maybe we can do some kind of, and I'm just experimenting right now, everyone, so I haven't done this yet, so I'm just kind of working my way through it. Yeah, that would be kind of more so what I'm looking for here. So is it going into this first? Ugh. Because I don't really even hear that. Do you all hear a difference at all? Filter, main. We are sending that to bus 1, right? Yeah, it goes into main, goes into direct. Yeah, so the routing should be there, but I'm not really hearing anything. Am I crazy? Nope, I'm not crazy. I'm not hearing anything. So maybe that's because of the filtering and stuff. So let me bypass this. Sorry, this is a bit troublesome to navigate. It could be that this is in mono. So maybe what we can do is put a really small chorus on this. That would be the next indicator about why this isn't doing what I want it to do. But let's go here and just give it a really tiny amount of stereo. There we go. Okay, maybe that'll help. Yeah, okay, that's what we're looking for. So now we can pull this back to the bottom. I think that the spectral thing by default just didn't have any stereo output. And then we can grab a downsampler here and try to get this to make some noise. Is there another one on here? Tape saturator, 0 square. Maybe a stomp box? And we're not really looking for a tone. We're just kind of looking for texture. Womp, womp, womp. Okay, maybe... Sorry, guys. Yeah, something like that could probably work. And then what happens if we mix this back in with the other stuff? Yeah, okay. Yeah, sweet. I do need a... We'll just pull this up here, rather. I'm not sure how loud this is, so... That's not bad. So maybe what we can do is distort this again. Or just play with some of these. Not bad. And then from here, we can play with all of this other stuff. So there's a few things that we can do for fun. Like, for example, we can mess with the resonance here. One thing that I do also like to do is, and maybe the next time I make a kick or something, I'll put this in a frequency splitter. But actually, I suppose I could already. But what I can do with this whole thing is grab a low high. And this is a trick that I've been doing for, can I please grab this? Hello. Can I not move that? What's going on here? What? What? Is that a bug? I'm guessing that's a bug, but I guess something that we can do anyways is just see how it. Yeah, that's a bug because this won't let me move it. It'll let me move stuff around it, but it won't let me move the chain. Okay. Dude, I'm just kidding. Something that we can do with this is we can actually set an envelope on the drive here. I was just making sure that was bipolar. And that gives it a bit more knock. It's not really making a difference, to be honest. But if you do this at the beginning of the chain, then that can kind of be something that you can also utilize as well. But that's cool. See, this gives it a little bit of different texture. That's definitely not what we want. You can also set this to a shaper here if you want to do that, which I love that we have a custom distortion on here. Damn, I forgot to mention that on this, or on the comparison video. Oh well, I can't cover everything, but that's fine. We'll just sine shaper. But, you know, -7 is not the worst. And then what I would do just to like bring it out is something like this. Like drums. Looks like that gave us a bit of headroom. But if we make this a little bit shorter now, then we've got a pretty nice punchy kick. Where is that? Here we go. It's nice and rounded, has the pitch bend over this, you know. So that's how we do kicks. I will save this. I will leave this in the Arcana memberships if somebody wants it. And then now we're going to tackle snares. What are my favorite non-electrical genres? I really like jazz. What you know about jazz? I really love flamenco guitar, or like just flamenco music in general. I like African classic stuff. Trying to think about what else I like. I don't know. There's not really too many genres of music that I don't like. Crazy how Serum 2 made Vital and Phase Plant irrelevant almost instantly. Hot take. Is that a fact or is that an opinion? Okay, let's go for snares. Well, video game music to me is still electronic. So what we're going to do with this is we're going to turn this on. And we need, yeah, we're going to need both of these. So what I'll do is I'll grab this on an LFO. And then can I move the phase? No, I need this to start a little bit later. Kind of like over here with just a little bit of delay. I'll set that to a hertz and to envelope mode. And we need to offset this and turn this down. So we can make this a little bit slower. Then we need to pull back off of this. It is what it is, just like all DAWs. If you like to use it, and if you, I don't know. The reason rack is like mathematics. I refuse to start with that. Reason rack is is a lot to deal with. What are these people saying phase plan is wash now? They both have completely different workflows. It's just, I don't really know how to describe any of that without sounding like an elitist, so I'm just not going to say anything. The more I see of this plugin, the more I'm mind blown. Okay, but how much do you know about phase plant? So we need to grab either one of these. I don't really think that it matters, but we need to use the noise oscillator here to give this a little bit of texture. That's good enough for me. We're going to use a normal thing here for a high pass 25, along with the second thing here to give this about 100 milliseconds of a bump. And then we're going to use this to go. So the problem with this is that I need this to go to be louder. Oh, this is probably because it's unipolar. There we go. I was like, why is that not doing that? And now the issue that we're running into is this is the master volume. This needs to be longer than that. So what we'll do is we'll make this longer here. We'll grab another envelope and make this relatively short. So like here, we'll take the level of this and then apply that here. There we go. I can already tell that this is going to be fine. But what we need now is just distortion. And then we'll need, maybe we'll do this with a low high, some kind of easy convolution. We are going to mid-side split this as well, but I'm going to maybe try to stick to something small. It's already nice and punchy though, which I like. So we'll throw some compression on it. Long attack, long release. This is already kind of where it needs to be honest. I'm going to change the decay down. And I don't like that tail. So we need something that perhaps another gate or something to, is there a gate on this utility? No. That's okay. We can use another compressor to try to gate it just a bit. Oh, that's why. Okay, hold on. Let me turn that off. I was thinking threshold is down this way. It needs to be here. Yeah, okay. So now we can use another distortion to bring it back up. Get in here and fine tune this stuff. We still need another oscillator to make noise for us because we need a clap layer. And so what I'm thinking that I might do with this is we'll set this to filter 2 to do the same thing. Which will go high pass, wherever that is. Low high, oh, just a regular high pass. High 24. Okay, we'll grab, I think it's envelope 2. What envelope was on this one? Envelope 2, yeah, okay. So we'll grab envelope 2 and yeet this into the resonance. I always struggle making snares. Wait. Sorry. I was looking up. We'll see where things are in about a year when the novelty wears off a bit. I started with Serum 2 and don't regret it. It allowed me to understand other synths that lack super flexible UI interfaces. Taught me a lot of all the extra keywords to understand. So did you just start before lore? Huh? No, bought Serum 1 a very long time ago. I always struggle making snares. I meant to say OG Serum. So you started with Serum 1. Kick 3 is pretty cool for making snares. Hey, I wish there were spectral and additive oscillators in the grid. Think I'm caught up. Enjoy things without having other things. It's actually about using it. Tad bit cultural. They've all got their uses. Yeah. I think it's fine. It's okay. So let's do another similar one as well. Actually, we can just use maybe envelope 4. We're going to give this some attack. That's a lot of attack. One thing that I don't like is like, look how the scaling of this is kind of, yeah, this is, I didn't know that they did that. Yeah, I actually want the scaling of this to be like here. That's a complaint that I have with current, is that the scaling of it is kind of like what? So we're going to delete the modulation on this. Remove all modulators. We'll set this here to about 1,000. We're going to change this into a band pass. Something kind of like so. And then what we'll do is we're going to turn this just into complete noise. And there's a couple of ways to do this. Because we have a noise oscillator, we can literally just go, and then that should be the thing, I believe. So if I turn this off. I think I forgot to add this to the volume. I'm sorry. Yeah, nice. So we'll send this into filter 1. And then this will go into filter 2. This will go into filter 2. There's a lot of setup with this. It's not my favorite, to be honest, so far with this experience, but it can be done. But now that we have this bandpass layer will go into filter 1. And now we've got our clap sound. I haven't seen an interesting use of the spectral gimmick. Weren't you here when I was demoing the spectral stuff? I actually think it's good. I think it's really good for like high-end tones or for like metallic stuff. I think it's pretty good, actually. There we go. Because you haven't seen me use it yet. This isn't even my final form. So what we might do with this is just play around with the envelopes now and try to get it right. And then something else that I'm going to add to the matrix here is I'm also going to do another LFO here, maybe LFO 4. And I'm just going to make this really fast, like this. Yes. Yes. And then we'll take the global and go to main tuning. And you ever mess with FM or physical modeling for snare design? Absolutely. Cinematic impacts, risers, downer. Yeah, I think that, I mean, this can do most of the stuff that you would expect out of any synth. You kind of just know how to navigate. You have to know how to navigate it. My favorite feature so far is the FM from filter warp mode, that you can have 2 warp modes per oscillator. Yeah, that's cool. But yeah, the snare shaping and stuff from now is just getting a handle on, what's it called? The effects. So even just doing that, right, of messing with this, kind of gave that a lot of character. Hey, Lil Saf, long time no see. I still want this to be a little bit tighter. So messing with all of this stuff, right? And then maybe like when I'm done with this, I'll make macros and all that. But now that we have the main character of this, we can use the spectral thing to create the different tones or like different characteristics of it on top. I'm going to send this into filter 2. And then I'm going to go overboard and maybe do everything that I just did again. But first what I'll do is I'll take that and then throw it back in here. And then I'll turn these off so I can just listen to what this is doing. And maybe what I'll do, I think I'm using all of these. I need more envelopes. Is I'll probably just use envelope 2 and just combine that together. But phase is a really big consideration with this stuff in order to get like the thing to react in the way that you want it to. So interesting. Come on. There we go. Let's see what that does. Let's see what else we can get out of this, if anything. Oh, that's nice. Maybe what I can do is set this to like LFO 4 instead. Maybe LFO 5. Sorry. Let me remove envelope 2. Oh God. Holy shit. Then maybe just give this a little bit of this, and maybe we don't need full volume on that. Nice to see the multiband has an adjustable X offset. Yeah, that is really nice. There we go. So we can use this to create a physical tone with this. Fucking jump scare me. I'm so sorry. So that's a use case that you can utilize. And then we can kind of mess with... Oh, did you see that? I didn't know that that reacts in real time. People will be making new DRAMs, no recycling. I know, right? I would say that the tear out people are eating right now. So yeah, you can create some pretty interesting things just with this. We can also process this separately if we wanted to. What are drims? Oh, new drums. Drums. Sorry. Yeah, gotcha. Does this band have a... Can we do this at like 48 or so? Miscellaneous. Format. Comb. Band EQ 12. Oh, it's just a bell. Okay. Yeah, it would be nice if there was another band on here that could go a little bit deeper than this. We can also set this to a unison, maybe, and change the effects on this. Change the width to 100. Do we have options to how to spread this out? I don't see them. We do have filters, which is nice. That's cool. What is this? Embeds the sample in the preset when saving. Oh yeah, that's we want that. Like the detuning and all that, because I don't. Oh, here it is. Okay, sorry, I didn't see it at first. There it is. So. Just trying to see if, like, mess with this stuff and see if we can get any other, like, interesting modes out of this or whatever. That's kind of cool. This will give you a different kind of, like, flavor over this every time. I haven't figured out the custom morphable filter yet. It always boots the low end so much. I don't know why. You can use one of the new filters for that bandpass. What are we talking about here? Perhaps the DJ mixer then. Maybe. Maybe not. Is there a way to move this? No. Exponential bandpass filter. Cut off. Does this have an edit? Key tracking is nice. I'm guessing what you're talking about is the morphable one. I think this is fine. Like the morphable thing in this actually works really well. But what we can do is change this to a bandpass filter. I actually don't like that. So we'll go high pass. And then we'll grab this and we'll go low pass. So I guess you can. It's kind of annoying to have to do that, but you still can't control the slope of this though. That was one of the major complaints that I had, right? So this looks very similar to... Yeah, see, it's like, no, this is as deep as it goes. That's what he said. There we go. I think that's the cleanest one. You can try using low pass and high. Yeah, that's what I just did. So my thing with this is I want I want this to get loud. And we could push this on the other side of this. I didn't realize that I was pushing that through the fuse compressor. What does it sound like without it? Sorry. I actually like, that's not terrible. It has more of a smack. But is there a way that we can like get this to like, you know, give it some oomph? That was one of the major things with Serum 1 was like, how do we get this to like, you know, you know, it needs to be like, Yeah, once you push the gain too hard, you start to lose the transient of this. I suppose something that we could do as well is we can take the cue of that. Is this also a... It looks like the top end is being rolled off. But we can take the fundamental of this, perhaps, and do this again. And maybe instead of even using the filter, we can just do it with the distort. That would honestly probably be the better way to go now that I think about it. Yeah, it's nice and smacky now. More distortion. I actually think that it sounds better here. Interesting. What if you apply a drive on a delay? You could. But I don't really use delays a lot when I'm making snares. It's more of a, I'm looking for volume. Yeah, we could do that, but you know. A delayed envelope? If you to preserve the transient's fine. It's the overall energy of the sound. I know what I'm going for, or like I know what I'm looking for. I just kind of have to finagle with it because I've never made snares in this before. Like if you listen to this, the dynamics of this, the texture is almost there, and it still needs a little bit more of a smack, but it's close. I'll say that. But we kind of just have to get in here, and instead of trying to like go for the right one, just mess around. Something else that I could try is what does this mean? Oh, interesting. You can stack it? That's interesting. Good old halftime snare. That's a nice snare. I think it's okay. How am I liking Serum workflow compared to Faceplant? It takes way longer to design a snare in this than it does in Faceplant. But this is also the first time going through it. But I mean, objectively, I have to fish through all of these menus in order to get where I want to go. the thing about Serum is that there are some unique things that I like about this, but at the same time, it's just kind of like I have to. I'm really having to like work at what I'm trying to get out of this, you know? So like one thing is that this doesn't have a transient designer per se. The envelopes are pretty snappy, which is nice, but trying to look at what I'm trying to actually evoke out of this. The thing is like the distortion, I feel like there's auto gain with this for the most part or something of the sort, because whenever I'm pushing the distortion, um, it's not really giving me the saturation that I'm looking for. And that's okay. But now I'm kind of just trying to be like, okay, how do I give it a little bit more, a little bit more, a little bit more? Because in theory, this isn't terrible, but I'm going to go ahead and switch this back to linear, and then make sure that the phase of this doesn't go off, because sometimes I hear a really nice transient and sometimes I hear a pretty whack one. So yeah, see, that's playing a big role in the transient as well. I don't know if you can tell or not, but you see, there's all these little factors that I'm kind of walking through now that I'm noticing make these little changes and stuff. And it's cool that there's nuance with it, but a lot of times I really don't want to spend this much time on a drum if I don't have to. That's interesting. What are some of the other modes that we have on this? Normal. What other kind of high pass stuff? Or is there anything interesting that's worth going through? Comb, scream. I don't really want any of this, to be honest. Ring mod, filter, comb 2, ladder, diffuser. That's a WSP. That's a Wespus Wasp. Yeah, let's throw this back into here and see what this sounds like. Yeah, so this will give it that extra. Can you hear like the clunk? I don't know, just as a quick comparison, I can show you this, and then I can show you like a snare that I would design. Quick snare factory. This would be how I do this in, no, sorry. Snare, random, there we go. Something like this. It's actually not the one that I wanted to pull up. It's not bad. Maybe some stuff that we can do with this. I feel the same when using distortion. You can't even play with the mix knob since you literally can't set the dry and wet signals outputs independently. It's still, yeah, it's still not quite where I want it to be. Like, just as far as my expectations go for like making drums and stuff, which a lot of these are claps, but you know. So what I'm going to try to do is get some more high end out of this, because it's not, like I said, it's not bad, but maybe something that we can do with this is it's weird. Why can't I move this? Complain. Let's go into the highs here and see if I can just boost this just a little bit with an EQ. That gives it a little bit more presence. Trying not to make it sharp though. Something else that would be nice on here. I think that I'm using just about everything. Oh, no, we can do one more. So one thing that we can create with this is, it's a shame that you can't FM the sub, but that's all right. I'm going to grab LFO6 and just see if I can make this just a little bit punchier by setting this to envelope mode, turning this down, and literally just creating a click with this. Turn this off. So that would be your transient designer right there. So when you download Serum 2, it also gives you Serum 2 effects. Pretty cool. Clicky, clicky, clicky. Yeah, it still needs like, it doesn't have that like presence that I want of like, but it's not terrible. Now we can hear that again. I don't know where that went, but I lost that somewhere. I think that it's probably going to be the best we can get. I mean, -6 is not terrible. So, I will say, like, hey, this is the first time that I've designed this snare in Faceplant, or sorry, in Serum. But objectively, like, this is why I think it's really funny when people are like, yo, Serum is for like designing stuff really fast. But if you want to put a timer on this, check this out. 2, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Grab this, go here, get that, a little bit of that. We're gonna go like this, about 25. Grab a bandpass on this. You see how much faster this is already? Like how quickly I just designed. Right? Envelope. Go here to like 10 seconds. Give this, there's that, there's that. Filter, envelope. Shaper table. Maybe even a filter table. Do something wild. I guess I'll just do it from scratch. Excuse me. We'll find one just as a resonance point here. Done. Small amount of convolution. Make it really short. Compressor. This should already be pretty loud if I'm not mistaken. Clippers on. There we go. I think I fucked up somewhere, to be honest. Let's do this again. Somewhere here. Do this a little bit lower. Okay, now I think that the reason why it sounds like this is just because of the envelopes. Maybe we might want to do that as well. Oh, right. We need to do this because the noise on this is kind of, yeah. So there's one way to do that. But I mean, just working with this and like being able to bounce back and forth and have everything on a single tab is kind of the way to do it. I feel like there's something that I missed here, but Snare 2024. Coward. What's some other stuff? Mecha Snare. I'm pretty sure that's what it's called. Eventually you'll have a recipe for Serum as well. Not a Serum fan by any means, but it's not fair. Yeah, that's kind of what I was saying, is that it's the first time that, it's the first time that I was doing it today. Yeah, this was the one that I liked because there was, well, maybe not. There was a filter table thing that I did on here that I was like, wow, that sounds really good. Dear God, maybe this is it. It's like, yeah, that's not bad. So that sounds pretty nice. Although I don't think that it gets as loud as this. I guess it's about the same. So there you have it. Yeah. I don't know. I feel like you ever like make drums a lot and then your perspective on that stuff gets like really skewed. They all cut very well on small old MacBook speakers. And that's kind of my thing, is like I really want them to be like transient dependent, and I don't know. I guess I have this expectation of snares to be like, and that's the kind of stuff that I like, but what can you say? Oh, we also didn't do any post-processing in this as well, but that's all right. Okay, so now what I want to do. How loud is that? That's still pretty quiet. Yeah. Yeah, interesting sounds. Okay. Anyway, let's move on. Let's go ahead and do a clap now, if that's cool with you all. Let me turn this off. Okay, we got that saved. So what I'll do is turn this into a sine wave. We'll turn the noise on. This will probably have a lot to do with this as well. So let me change this into an envelope. Something like this. Maybe here. Come on. Something like that. And we'll take this and just apply that here. Okay, we will set this to FM. There you go. We're done. Okay, we're going to do two things. One is we'll have one of these as a bandpass. And another one we'll have as a high pass. Normal. Wow, this is great for claps. Okay, cool. That was easy.
Recording to logbook.
Yo, thank you for the follow. Yeah, there's like just some weird, like, I want this to get louder. I think overdrive is the move, is the move for this. Thank you, Jody. We go here. We'll set this to our high pass here. And what I'm going to do is with this, we'll drive this through the resonance. So that way it's going to give it a little bit of texture. Actually, I'm going to try to back off of not turning it up yet and see what we can get with some of the compression stuff. Oops. Next to the mix knob is a gain fader now. Oh, you're right. Good call. Thank you for that. I forgot about that. Good show. Jolly good show. It's honestly not doing much. A vocal plate, perhaps small size. I love that I've actually really liked the Convolver because it has not only the size but also the decay, and it has damping on it. This is actually low key like a goated convolution reverb, and you can modulate the size. This is the only thing, like one of the only convolution reverbs that can do that. I think the only other one that I can think of is what is it, Convology XT or something. You can clip the output with a second distortion model at the end of the chain. You can, but it will only set it to -6. I think that's the only one that I found that will actually do the clipping. So if you set this to not soft clip, but if you set it to overdrive and you just leave this on, this will keep this from going over -6, I believe. But yeah. What happens if we turn this off? The hard clip does it at 0. Are you sure? Because I thought I went through that. I guess we'll have to drive something else into it. Okay, maybe let's try the compression. And that's kind of this is kind of where I'm at with figuring out how to push this hard, because it's not really doing a lot. So, sorry. I'm just going to push this and see. I tested it. Yeah, this is still trying to keep this below a certain, like, you see what I'm saying though? It's still trying to, it's not letting it push up to the ceiling. It's saying, nope, you stay there. So maybe it can go up to, oh God, what are we doing here? Maybe it can go up to that, but from what it's looking like, it's still trying to like keep that there. If you, yeah, see, it doesn't really make a big difference. Okay, let me back up. It's fine, you know. What's the reason for the rather slow attack on that? Don't you want to compress right after the transient hits? No, you want this. The distance between this and this is pretty long. So you, whenever you make drums, you usually want a long attack and a long release. You can just do that. It's fine. Sorry. Okay, so now that we have that, we can grab another LFO here and give it a little bit of pizzazz by giving it a little bit of a tail here by applying this to the actual level. We'll send this into bus 1 and go to the mix here, or sorry, go to the effects. And on this, we'll just have like a high pass. And then we'll figure out how to mix that in. But that will bring back some of the high end on that, which is nice. I suppose over everything else, you could also do some kind of frequency shifting to it, but probably want to do it before or maybe after the convolver. Interesting. That's kind of cool. That's some neat texture over that. Let's drag that in, see if we can mess with that, get some cool stuff. Wow. To be honest with you, like this takes about the same amount of time as if I were designing this within Current, so you know, it's okay. Oh, interesting. It's not that necessary. Do I plan on making a Serum 2 neuro video? I mean, I can show you what I've already done if you like. With this echo build, I want it to kind of be lower. But that's still pretty nice. Yeah, you can get a lot of control with this. I will say that making basses and stuff with Serum 2 is pretty, it's not bad at all. Here is a neuro patch that we have. So you would never use something like a 1776 on drums? I think it depends. It's like, what kind of sounds do you want out of it, you know? I think that 1776, if I'm not mistaken, is really good for vocals because you can compress everything immediately, and it acts very fast. When you compress stuff, you are trying to control the dynamics of it, right? But a lot of times if you're using compression to pull something out, that means that you're wanting to make the difference between the transient and the rest of the body much different. So if you wait and you distort the fuck out of your transient and then you use a compressor to where it has a long attack and then you roll everything off after, that's how you get really loud and punchy drums. Does that make sense? I mean, yeah, look at that. We're getting some really nice sounds out of that. What I would say with this, the main thing about it is like we're actually just using just saw waves, and this sounds really good. We have the morphing filter, we have a band pass that's doing whatever, distortion, process the mids, then just some shaping on the top end. So yeah, that's pretty much it. It's not too difficult. Aren't the two waves out of phase? I mean, there is unison and they are detuned, but the phase of these, I mean, 180 to 0 is kind of like the same thing. I don't really worry about that a whole lot. And this is a direct out, so yeah, I think it's fine though. As long as the phase starts at the same point, the sub is fine. Like if you listen to this on like on the low end, I wouldn't worry about it too much. I don't know, does that have enough sub for you? So Yeah, that would be that. Um, okay. Is Give me 1 second. Is Jack still in here? Or is there anything else that you all want to see? Any requests for different sounds or whatever? Um, we did some other cool stuff here with like made a cool machine gun bass. Still here, brother. Hell yeah. We can try to do some like HUD stuff if you want. I think this is kind of like a plucky pad thing, which is kind of cool. We made a sick DMB drop with drums and everything, which I thought was kind of funny. Yeah. I thought that was kind of funny. What else did we do? Fugue machine type thing. Which that was pretty cool. Yeah, we'll do that next. Whoosh generation. That's pretty much just white noise manipulation. Yeah. Fugue machine. Like, this is where I think the spectral thing shines the most, is creating shit like that. Hey, Alchemy, I stopped making electronic music a couple years ago, but I learned a lot from you and Dash Glitch, so thank you. Yeah, dude, thanks so much. Low end impacts? Okay. So let's do the percussion generator first, because I said I was going to do that. And then, is there a way to trigger the phase of something on here? I don't think that there is. Enjoying anything you do. Yeah, I appreciate it. Thank you. Okay. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to go to normal, and we're going to create just this. I find that electronic music artists have some of the most in-depth sound design work and flow, even if I don't listen to it anymore. I mean, there's a lot of us that just nerd out over this shit, and we just try to, you know what I'm saying? We just try to, I don't know, do cool shit. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to send everything into the filter 2. Put the level down at 0, and then this will be the last thing on the chain that we will place. So that way, there we go. I don't want this to be 100%. Wait. Yeah, fuck it. Whatever. It doesn't matter. It's not that big of a deal. The first thing I'm going to do is put a compressor on this, and then we'll just set this to, or sorry, put a distortion on this, and then I'm not going to touch it. I'm just going to leave this on overdrive and just let that be. But what we need to get is pretty much just utilize this first to get stuff out of this. But what's nice is that because everything is going to go into filter 2, that means that whenever this triggers, it's going to be a very short sound. And that's the most important part. Except, okay. Yeah. I guess that this, it's interesting because if this goes into filter 1, it does that. But it should go from filter 1 to filter 2, right? Ah, that's why. Okay, sweet. That's what we were missing. So first things first, let's go ahead and send this into a comb or something of the sort. I don't know, we might experiment with different things with this. Flanges. I don't know, let's just pick one. Something like this. LFO2, sample and hold on the cutoff. Wrong one, Ian. It's supposed to be here. And then this is supposed to be... Can you all even hear that? Okay, I can. Just normal. We don't want this. Do you hear Faceplant on the Galaxy by Enzo? I'd kill to understand that level of sound design. No, I haven't. I guarantee I could probably teach you a thing or two about sound design, though. Everyone is streaming Serum 2 content now, Keck. What does the bode effect actually do? It's an echo bode. Dropped like a video game. Everyone trying to reach the final boss. I believe it's a stereo pitch shifter. It's a frequency shifter and a delay all in one. Okay. So we're going to go into the matrix now and grab LFO3. Actually, we'll do the last LFO here and go into LFO8. And we'll set this to the master pitch by like 24. I wish that we could scale this with, because if I set this to 24, I don't actually know what that is. You know what I mean? Is there a thing on here that's like actual, transpose? Okay, that's what we want here. And then we'll set this to sample and hold. We'll set this to trigger, retrigger, and then we'll set the hertz to 0. And then set that to envelope. So this is on retrigger, envelope trigger, but is there a way to actually fire this? To fire the phase of this? Does anybody know? Because that would be nice if I can get that to control that way. You know what? I can actually rig this to do my bidding. Maybe. That seems like more trouble than it's worth, though. So I'm gonna not touch that for a second. Type 24 semitones. I wish the matrix page was built into the UI of the second oscillator, UI of the oscillator section. Yeah, that would be nice. I'm really not a tab person. That's why it's taken me so long to do this. I apologize. The tabs of this are just, it's a lot, so. So we'll do this for now. Okay, the problem here is that Yeah, the problem is that, wait, where's that sample and hold out? 1/4, 1/4. What did I set that to? LFO 8. Okay. Sample and hold. So we'll set this to BPM. It seems like this isn't doing anything. Am I tripping? It says it is here, but oh, because it's not. All right, so that has to be master tuning. Ugh. Okay. All right. All right. We got it. Yeah, it has to be the master tuning. Let me give this just a little bit of offset here to play that. Wait, what? Okay. Sorry, we're getting there. Let's go into envelope 2. And instead of giving that a like definitive, sorry, envelope 4, we'll also go into the global main tuning here. We'll set this to be really high. Turn the sustain down and pull it to like 24 milliseconds. This should help it give it a little bit more of a percussive nature. That might help. I'm sorry. What's it called? What is that called? Modal synthesis when it sounds like wood and glass? Physical modeling. Sorry, guys, I did the wrong pitch. I was like, why does that sound so... Sweet. Okay. So what I'm going to do now is set this to a multi to where we have a band and a high or a low pass, high pass. Maybe a 12 if that's available. It is. And oh, that is both. I don't know if I want to do that. Smile. Yeah, I don't think that I want to do that. So I think what we'll do instead is just let's try this. Does this do both as well? It does. Okay. I'm going to settle. Just because I can kind of tweak this later, but what we'll do is play with the resonance here. We'll grab a sample and hold. 1/4, 3 trigger, set this to the cutoff about here. So the highest I want this to go is, yeah, maybe let's say 1000 hertz. Lowest I want this to go is all the way to the bottom, I guess. Are there any other new effects other than Bode? Convolution, there is some new distortion types. There's new filters. And I think that's it. Utility, oh, and the splitters, of course. So, kind of. We're going to go low high. Let's grab a filter. We're going to grab just a normal high pass. And fuck with the cutoff of this. Only from like here to here, I'd say. So maybe here to like 300. We're going to set this on here as well to try to push the res. Maybe set it to fat. Then I'm going to grab a distortion. Toss it in here. And we're going to mess with... Let me try Stomp Box. Nice. We'll start here. Just let's grab a convolution in here. Set this to really short. Play with the mix of this. Maybe we can also start playing with some of this other stuff here where we can set this to retrigger, play with the size, play with this to where we're changing this downwards. Boom, make it only go lower. So kind of changing that. Have a problem with Vital displaying properly on Mask OS? I don't think so. Not me personally. Sweet. Okay. Let's grab some distortion now. Okay, so now we can start to mess with some other shit, which is nice. We can change the routing of this to mode to harmonics, or rather ratio. And we can do this here to where we can pretty much just set this to whatever we want of being this way, but maybe not so harsh. So maybe something between that and 4. Then we can start to play with the FM amount. So yep. Okay, we're getting there. So one thing that I'm so sorry. I guess one thing that I would like to do on this, I suppose I could, is I can use envelope 10 to create a clap with this instead. And what this will do for me is give us some options here. So if I want to create a different kind of thing, maybe like say here, I can also set this to go this way, but maybe not so high. And then we can go into the matrix and try to remap this with the amount. So I can go into one of these sample and hold things. Sure, we'll just use like 8. And can I drag these? No? Okay, that sucks. I need to go to filter to level. We need to drag. Oh, you can't? Oh, fuck. Okay, that sucks. So how would I do that then? If I want to add the amount to this, how did I learn sound design? I mean, I've been doing sound design for like 12 years now, so there is that. Okay, can I modulate this? So if I set this to be a square and something like this. Okay, sure. Can you modulate the offset? You can. Okay, cool. So we're still in business. Because this is unipolar. This might not work, but we're going to try. So that might work. So now we need to go down to the filter 2 level here. And wait, what was this one at? Okay, so this one was at the S curve. We're going to set this one to be at this curve instead. Maybe. Jesus. Kind of like so. And see if we can make this opposite of each other and then use the same one to morph in between. So that way these two should never overlap as long as they're the same amount, right? I'm pretty sure getting good at sound design is just learning through play. I mean, there's a part of that. What I would recommend is find a mentor and have them teach you, you know, just the ins and outs. Like, yeah, you definitely got to do a lot of stuff by yourself, but a lot of it's been through me, a lot of it's been through YouTube, a lot of it's been through, you know, really big name artists that I hit up on Discord or Facebook or Instagram, and I was like, hey, do you offer lessons? And they were like, yes. And so what I try to do is take a lot of those lessons and then internalize them and figure out my own paths to how I like to do stuff. Is the Serum 2 update wasn't free? Would it be? No, I think that people would still be excited about it, but I don't think it would have been as big of a deal. Explaining convolution is very convoluted. Steve Duda is very generous with the free update. Comes a tiny UI, weird off-put from buying it, waiting for Serum 2 and bought that even though it was a free update. Wait, what are we talking about, Tinkle? Oh, right. Serum 2 or Vital is still being strange. I haven't had that issue. Hi, what are we doing here? Just jamming? I'm just making percussion. Hi, Kusar. Maybe set to global pitch. Sorry, guys, I got really in the zone for a second while I was trying to figure out what I was trying to do. But if I did this right, then we should be able to alternate between percussion and claps. We broke it. Maybe. Okay, so I have the feeling that these are stacking on themselves at the same time. So maybe what I can do is set this here. Maybe try that. Yeah, it works half of the time, but it doesn't really sound in the way that I want it to, unfortunately. That's not bad. But as you can tell, it doesn't sound like how I wanted it to. So we'll just set this to off for now. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to reset this. And then we need to send this into the filter as well. So we'll send that into filter 1. There we go. Maybe we can play with some of this other stuff here where we can take FM from noise and throw something like that on there. And really the name of the game now is to just mess with this until we get like some kind of interesting variations of sounds. And so what I think that we want to do as well is this is kind of large. So we probably want this to Cool. So what I'm going to do with this instead is I'm going to set this to sample and hold. And we are going to send this into the speed and duration of this. So if we go here, then we'll modulate this. Did that let me do that? Or did that not let me do that? No. Yes. Okay. Let's set this to bipolar. So that way the re-triggering of this is going to be different. I don't think so. I think that was one of my major complaints, was that there wasn't a way to do that. Maybe we will set it to this. And then we also need to apply this to the other one as well, which I think this one is the noise layer. Yo, thank you for the follow. Appreciate it. So we go there. Wait, no, what? What? Oh, was this just modulating itself? The fuck? Can you not set a modulator to mod another mod? I think you can, but what the fuck? Okay. All right, we'll just do it like that because that's kind of annoying. Whatever. Okay, so now we can compress it and try to pull the attack up on it a bit. Maybe I'll just do a single band for now. Pull the threshold down and see how much gain I can get away with. Okay, Now we can do another multi-band compressor and try to bring some of that out. And then we can grab a distortion to, and this is just like baseline, you know, of like, this would be baseline of like creating a quote unquote percussion generator. What would happen if we threw another compressor on here? And we just have a 0, 0, or 0.1, and then we just set this to limit. Oh, there's a lot of coloring on that. I don't like that. Okay. Let's see what other options we can explore to try to... break it. Sorry guys, I'm just experimenting to see what will actually clip and what won't. Color means adding harmonics? Yeah. Or distortion. Okay, so now let's get into some spectral stuff. And with that, let's throw something in here. And now what we can do is just utilize this to keep, you know what I mean, running this through the mill and get some other cool stuff, which is kind of sweet. So we'll set that here and throw that in there as well. And then we can start cross-modulating stuff here to create different variations. I don't know. Let's try something like that. We can also maybe make a spectral filter here and do something kind of like that. And grab one of these and start messing with this in a certain direction. Yeah, it has this expander, like a dimension expander. Or do you mean on this patch? On this patch, it does not. What's our CPU looking like? That's fine. I actually really like when that changes the wavetable. My 16 gig Mac would probably die with some Serum 2 patches. Maybe. Maybe not. It could be okay. But that's like, if you think this is a lot, Brother. Let me show you. Let me show you how it's done. Dun, 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 dun. Look at this. Look at all of this shit. But wait, there's more. Hi, welcome to my world of sound design. So you got all this shit. And this is why, friends, I really love digital distortion. Maybe. This is why there's no comparison of anything else to what Phase Plan does. Yeah. This patch takes up like 30% of my CPU, and I have like, what would you say? I have an M3 Max, so faceplant can become insane. But this is pretty efficient. It's not bad. But the thing is like, it doesn't have to be. You know what I mean? I know that that patch was insane, but it doesn't have to be that. You know what I mean? Oh, I could have just used the ARP. Fuck, I didn't even think about that. Blah. Oh well. Next time I do this, I can use the ARP. That was cool. Take that sound and put it right back in. All right, we can save that as Perk Maker 1. Sound design scares me. I hear you. It's a lot. Yeah, I mean, if you can take the time to design this stuff, then this has so many sounds that do I have any problems with it? I have a wish list for it, but I think it's fine. But yeah, this can do a lot. And there's other aspects to this that we probably haven't explored yet. Like, for example, if I were to start doing like short delays with this or other things, there's a lot of other options that we can start to chuck into here. But I think as a starting point, this is not a bad place to not a bad place to visit for things, in my opinion. That last perk before I saved it was heavy. It's going to be random every time. So that's why it's really important to have rolling sampler out on here, because if you liked anything, then you just pull it out. You know what I mean? So do something like that and be like, okay, now I have all of this percussion saved. And you need to treat it and, you know, do some stuff with it. But you know what I'm saying? We can easily be like, all right, and this is actually what I do a lot, is I'll utilize something like this and then I'll be like, and then I'll just try to find some of this stuff and try to turn it into something rhythmic or like a hook or like a percussion hook or something.
Recording
Like
to
even
logbook.
this. Yo, thank you for the follow, Edgy Leaftail Geck. Check. Edgy Leaf. I'm just gonna say Edgy Leaftail. Because you've got a contrast here. You can do something like this to where it's like put this in the course of a bar. Think Serum 2 worth a preset pack? I don't know. What do you all think? Does anybody have any interest of like picking sounds up like this that I've made today as a preset pack, or should I just stick to Phase Plant? Maybe something like this where we pitch that up over time. That would be kind of cool. You know, even something like that, you know, and then you start getting into like maybe and you just use that to create a hook or something, and then you can start using this other stuff to add to it. You know, do something like a maybe like here. I don't even have Serum 1, but there's nothing like your style and sound design for it. It's mostly like straightforward stuff, which is cool too. Well, that's kind of the thing though, is like, even though the way that I work is based off of a lot of random stuff, I think that when most people buy a product, they expect to um, have it immediately be usable, right? And I think that's why Faceplant works so well, is because it's a lot easier to sell that idea of, hey, this is meant to be a playground, you know? Because let's face it, most people that do shit with Serum and all that, they want something very specific. So that's why I'm like, I don't even know if there's a market for that. Bitwig doesn't have a groove pull, but it has its own groove settings. So here you have shuffle, accent, phase, and then the rate. So there's that. But there's so much rhythmic stuff that you can do inside of Bitwig that's super fucking cool. If you've watched me make any kinds of beats as means of like getting like, I guess first of all, I do most of this shit by hand, but There's a lot of really insane like quantized stuff and whatever that you can get into. I personally think the groove pool is hella overrated, but you can modulate the groove if you want to. So all of this can be modulated with a project modulator like random or an LFO or whatever. Like, yeah, there's tons of cool shit that you can get into. Um, but yeah, I think that most people for Serum want very specific things, and even for current, right? I have to make very specific sounds. I can't just be like, hey, here's a thing that makes like a huge spectrum of sound that you can extract things from. And I also think that's still a very niche thing in the first place. That's why I'm a little bit concerned about maybe even thinking about releasing a pack for Serum 2. I mean, maybe I should, but maybe it should be something that I feel like a lot of my community would be disappointed with because you know what I'm saying? It's like, I don't know, maybe I can like include a couple of things, but I don't know, man. A wavetable pack, I've already got wavetable packs. And wavetables are universal. They're not exclusive to they're not exclusive to any synth. Yeah, I suppose I could do half and half. Um, but yeah, I don't know. It's something to think about. Okay. So yeah, we've got that saved. Whenever I think about doing like heads up displays and stuff, I usually think about doing like very like patterns, you know? So something kind of like this. I know that sounds really stupid, which it is, but if you detune something like this, actually, so like a whoop, 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 and make this really fast. So mode normal BPM. Maybe like also get me out of here. There we go. And maybe I don't want this to loop. Is there a way that I could set that to not loop? I might just want to use this, like I might just want to do this as not a clip, but retrigger, clip one, mono, show macros. Yeah, I'm not sure, like mode normal, one shot. There we go. Okay. Still stuck using Filter Bank 3 for filters and distortion, trying to learn thermal, but I don't know if there's better options out there. Yeah, I'm sorry. My favorite distortions are honestly like these are the most two that I use. Actually, I'll show you my top three. I use Saturn 2. This is the I use this the least. I use this the most. This thing right here, and then this would be the next best one. So shaper table. I guess I also use disc tube as like analog distortion, but I don't reach for this. Now that this is out, I don't reach for this as much, but these would be my top four that I use. I don't personally like Rift, but I think a lot of people do. Filter Plus is a Bitwig first party effect, but hold on. If you're like already in the market for stuff, that's one thing, but don't buy anything. Like see what your DAW has, because I guarantee like yeah, I mean disc tube is pretty much the same thing as decapitator. It's just that this doesn't have the phase issues. If you're looking for like a super versatile distortion for free, here you go right here. I'll leave a link in the description. I hate using this. I hate everything about it, but I would be lying if I didn't say that this is probably the best that you're going to get for free. Um, I just don't like Melda, but that doesn't mean that it sounds bad or that it's a bad tool. I just can't stand it personally. Also, check out the free alternatives because freeware is getting better. Yeah, yeah. So, the moment that I started using stock plugins for my production got way better. Yeah, I really try to use more stock stuff as much as possible. Oh yeah, the saturator. So anything from Melda. But these four are my favorites. This is what I pretty much use for everything. Fuck, Bigwig froze. Give it a sec. Give it a sec for the pain to start. This rec right here, it ain't for the faint of heart. Um, yeah, of course. I love chatting and chat or being. The reason why I live stream is to talk to people. Cubase 14 does have a new auto filter plugin. For filter stuff, just use a parametric EQ. Dude, what the fuck? Come on. Ever since I updated to Sequoia, this has been doing this shit. You know what? It's probably this. This is probably what's fucking it up. Thanks for pointing out the DAW plugins. There we go. Okay, caught back up eventually. Yeah, use your DAW stuff. And when it comes into filtering, like, just use a parametric EQ. So, something like this. You don't need fancy quote-unquote dedicated filter plugins. This will do whatever you want. You can shift it. You know, you can create your own filter shapes if you want it to be a band pass, if you high pass, whatever. But EQs are the way to go. Sequoia, that's the operating system from Apple, the latest operating system, and it's ass. It's assy McGee. Okay, so you know, that's kind of do 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 do. Something like that. Yeah. Okay. So then once you have stuff like this, then it's kind of just designing interesting, weird shit for different types of things. And whenever I think about like HUD stuff, I think about like Samus's suit. So anything like that that will kind of create a weird melody that for breaking shit and every oscillator update. My hot take is that Windows is better for audio than Mac, but it has to be Windows 10 and needs a lot of fine tuning. I do think that's a hot take. I think that up until Sequoia, it's been really nice. Really nice. Really stable. But yeah, at least Mac has better integrated audio stuff than my shit show 11. But yeah, I would have to disagree that Windows is better for honestly anything other than gaming. Recording to logbook. You know what I mean? So like just we can like skew it and do some stuff that's kind of like maybe a short convolution reverb or whatever. Ghostly bunker stretch. I don't know. That sounds cool, but we still want it to be short. So you can literally plug headphones in and be fine. Windows is constantly in fist fight with my audio interface. If you have an audio interface, you're good. I want a Mac so bad. I don't think I could ever go back to Windows, to be honest. Now, is there a way that I can trigger the clip? I don't think so. It's weird that there's like a key thing on here, but I don't know. Does anybody know? Is there a way to just set this to a keyboard launcher so that way I can just hit the thing and it will do the thing? Trigger mode, mono, bank, factory, clip bank, note gate. City trigger, overdub, extend, launch quantization. Under global. Keyboard shortcuts, double click parameters. MPE. Keyboard shortcuts. Voice control. Why did I say it like that? Voice control. This would be good for drums. I didn't see that that was a thing. You can scroll on the left thingy and clip. You mean? What are we talking about here? Global? Oh. Load mini map from presets. Limit mod wheel. Check for silence. And then just a few octaves down. Hey, you're right. That's what I thought. Okay, thank you. I was like, what? Yeah, okay. Awesome. Thank you. Sick. Okay. I thought so. I just wasn't sure. Yeah, so we can do some weird, like, right click, mod source. Mode, ratio. Oh, God. Yeah, I don't know. Let's try that. Sure. Sure. There we go. Yeah, that's cool. Chorus, frequency shifter. Yeah, so, you know, you can kind of use something like that. And maybe compress that. Like, see, my thing is like, I can do this stuff with timbre, but as to how it needs to be mixed and how it needs to be like leveled into an actual application of the game, like whether it be through Fmod or WWise, that's the thing that I don't know about. If we're just talking about the sound itself and whatever, like getting the timbre or the vibe, I can do it, but I wouldn't be the person to talk to about like, hey, this is how we're going to actually mix this impact or something in order to be able to like make it feel and integrate it within the world of the game. I don't know if that makes sense or not, but we'll call that Huddy. But yeah, just different things like that I think are really nice because we can even create different versions of them. And I don't really think that it matters much with what the melody is. It just needs to change. And then we need to set this to not loop. So one shot. It still loops for some reason. That's weird. Oh, that's why. Okay, let's let's make it wild. Yeah, I got you. I'm more of an implementation guy, but trying to be well-rounded, of course. Yeah, so that would be where you would rely on your own expertise for that. There we go. And then by maybe perhaps changing stuff like this, we can try to make different versions or different variations of it. But a lot of times with these things, you have to consider whenever you're designing these things, not so much for Jack, but for other people that are interested in this kind of sound design, you need to think about what is this going to be used for. If this is going to be inside of someone's suit, you don't really want it to have a lot of reverb. You want it to be very close in your ears, like almost like a little dinge or whatever. If this is being played in a physical space, you know what I mean? Like let's say this sound is something that you're reading from a prompt or a phone or a device in a space station, then yeah, that's where you would have the reverb and shit. But I don't know what goes into the sound design or what the approach is whenever people actually implement that shit. So I don't know if they prefer sounds dry, or I don't know if they prefer sounds to be, XYZ, but you kind of have to think about that, the surrounding or the physical placement about where these things would actually be. Yeah, intention first. Thank you. I probably should have just said that. But I mean, this is cool. Maybe this is something that I can do too, is like I can design, just different versions of this within the clip. Because the other thing that's interesting about these clips is that we can go to the macros here and draw this in, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. Okay, maybe you can't, but you can. Holy shit. This is crazy. So, you can do something like this to where like you can actually automate this over time as a secondary clip. Oh my God, this is such a game. Wow. When it comes into designing a suite of stuff for video games, this is pretty goated. So you can do something even like this. Just different versions of that, and then like bounce it out and, whatever. So like, what if we did that and then put that into a spectral gate? Yeet. And then now we've got a little bit more of a layer to this. We can maybe add some noise. fucking sine wave. Can you modulate the automation like the points like you can with the LFO points? No, I don't think so. We can try, but I doubt it. Yeah, maybe just turn the level down. I mean, you can just macro this, but I don't think that, yeah, the LFOs don't even pop up. So you can't get both of these views in here at the same time. Global, transpose, macro, gain. You could do MPE. So that's a thing. But no, you can't modulate that. I'm trying to think about some other stuff that you could possibly do within this that might be interesting. Yeah. Maybe you could like go into like a pitch bend or something. Expression, gain, MIDI, transpose. Mod wheel? Something? No? Macro? MIDI? Pitch bend. There we go. See, that kind of like natural shit like that. Those are things that really... Is there a limited clip amount, like an octave? You mean like how many clips you can store? Yeah, there's only 13. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Oh, sorry, 12. Sick. Yeah, and so, you know, once you kind of have that expression, like all you have to do is just rinse this with, you know, changing the timbre, changing the effects, or, you know, putting the intention behind what you want that to become. But that's fucking cool. Was that kind of like HUD stuff you were looking for, or does this kind of answer that sound design question? Yeah, for sure. Um, does anybody else have any other recommendations or things that you want to see? Yeah, I have been having a lot of fun with like just wanting to break this. I still think that drum design is a lot more straightforward than the other tools that I have. I'm just experimental cowbell. All right. So, if I recall, saw wave, I think it's 5 semitones and like minus 22, something like that. Isn't that the golden ratio for like the Tokyo Drift cowbell? I'm not mistaken. Been listening to while I paint the bedroom, liking the sounds. It's close. You ever just golden ratio? If I'm doing like, if I'm working within Bitwig, let's not forget about custom wheel up ringtones. Didn't I make a wheel up in this already? I think what we want is low pass. Oh, I was like, what the fuck? I'd have to look up because there's like there is a certain ratio with the cowbell that is like the 1-to-1 of how to recreate it. I just don't remember what it is. A quick Google search for like a quick thing would help us find it, but let me see. So a fifth and then a bandpass. I guess that's it. Okay, so I was close. I think we were missing the bandpass part. But this needs to be detuned a little bit to where like it's off. And then this needs to be like 7 instead of that. So, and then we'll set this to a bandpass. And then did I do anything else on this? Yeah, I guess the rest of it is just utilizing effects to change it. But once we get like the core vibe of it, then we can start to experiment and mess with it in different stuff. I don't even know. Is GCOM an artist? Oh, I know Baye Funk, but I don't know. I've never heard of GCOM. I might experiment with putting another another envelope here, just on the master pitch. It would be nice if there was a master pitch here. It's kind of annoying that there's not. Like, why do I have to go into the matrix to find that? The sound's pretty normal though, but the swing is its own thing. Yeah, I got you. I got you. I got you. Global main tuning. Okay. Shit. Okay. Short amount of delay. Yeah, thanks for coming in. I appreciate it. Okay, so now that we have this, we can start to fuck with it and get other things out of it. One thing that I might try to do is set this to a spectral. Oops. And it could be fun to record that out and throw that in here with itself, and then set this to FM from oscillator C and see what this does. No. Okay. I thought it froze. Comb filters are us. Then maybe we could do some kind of I love that. You see that? That's so cool. I love that this shows you what this is actually cutting through. Maybe something that we can do for fun is change this into a sample and hold, and change this to a 0 hertz value and put it on retrigger, and that way this is going to be a little bit random every time.
Recording to logbook.
Yo, thank you for the follow, Rory Hughes. Appreciate it. Maybe make the variable a little bit less dramatic though. Maybe with filter 2, we can do another cool thing of like have a comb filter or something that's not too loud, but maybe interesting enough that put key tracking on it and set this to, I think 561 is C4. Yeah, that's what they were asking me, was to do some kind of funk or just some kind of wonky cowbell. I took the challenge. I said yes. I rose to the occasion. I did the thing. What else could we do with this, maybe? Nodders. What? I still want it to have a little bit more presence though, so maybe we can try a node CT in it. And then do that here. And set that to multiband and see what we can get away with. Cool. All right. What else you got? What else do y'all want to see? I think that's a little bit cleaner. 60s analog snare. Can I make a neuro sound like she did in the Pigments neuro tutorial? Yes, I can. Old 60s snare, like an electronic one? Or are you talking about like an acoustic sounding snare? We did already do a snare in this stream. So that's what we did today. Were you talking about something different, or were you just memeing, or what? So I have a trick for you. If you want to make a crash, go here, go here, go convolve, find a crash. Wait, what? Okay. Just set the mix to like 100%. There you go. Hey, Michael, what's up? But I mean, yeah, you can get some great sounds by, and this can be anything, but something that's kind of noisy or a hat or whatever. I would say like that is the easiest way to do something like that. Same thing with snares, right? Like if you have this set up kind of like this, and then you just grab an acoustic snare. So let's compress the fuck out of that. Grab this. There you go. Now, I would still do some other things to this to make this a little bit more realistic, but not too much. The other thing that you can do is you can FM this by FMC just a little bit to make it a little bit more noisy. Sorry, from the noise. See that? Can introduce this into the granular to give it some more, or sorry, the spectral to give it a little bit more character. There we go. It still needs the crack of the snare, and that's where I would try to maybe look at messing around with the pitch bend in the matrix. So not the pitch bend, but the maybe envelope 4 global main tuning. Make this like hella short. Still sounds more like rim shots, but yeah. So it's not so much about this stuff, but about just having an impulse to send in through convolution reverb that you can start to recreate a lot of that. And you can do this with rim shots. You can do this with a lot of different shit. But as a means of creating a natural sound, this is one of the easiest ways to quote unquote physical model it. Any good for making drum hit? I think the diffuser is just a disperser, if I'm not mistaken. I don't use disperser. Like very seldomly will I use disperser for shit. And if I do, it might be on a kick. But I don't think it's all that special. That's kind of nice. I don't know. This is a little different. So maybe I'll give this a shot the next time I actually try to design a snare. Because that has a nice like woody sound to it. But at the end of the day, this is still a comb filter of some sort. It might be comb filtering the phase, but really comb filters are the key to any kind of physical modeling. Things with lots of really sharp peaks and dips is kind of what gets you into physical spaces of stuff. And then convolution as well, because it literally tries to recreate a space that's, you know, that's real or something. But yeah. What else we got? On the EQ and filter, you can click and have it show the fade. Yeah, I know. If you click on this right here, or well, at least in the first, what's it called? In the first Serum, you would just click on it, but I don't know. Oh, phase response. Yeah, there you go. So there's that. I guess now there's multiple things. Can I make a kick that sounds like a basketball in a gym floor, like a stomp? Yeah, I already did. He's behind. So what I would recommend when you're trying to create stomps is use noise in a low pass filter, because when you do that, more like a bounce than a stomp. Well, are we modeling the sound of a basketball, or are we modeling a foot? You know what I mean? Kick drum and basketball don't belong in the same category, in my opinion, but I'll fuck around and see if that is what you're looking for. Ouch. Let's go here. See if we can go to the master tuning. I don't know if this is going to work on this, but I'm going to try. Okay, let's try the noise oscillator to the pitch. Okay, yeah, kind of. We can grab envelope 4. Give this just a little bit of this here. Go back into the matrix. This is not very fun to work in between the matrix and this tab. Do I have a basketball? Sounds good. I always end up with a lot of mud in my final product though. Then you would just go into I mean EQ or multi-band compression. So turn the gain up.
Recording to logbook.
Yeah, that's what we want to do. Yo, thank you for the follow. So you can actually adjust these here if you look by doing upwards compression or downwards compression. So I wish that this also had that feature so you could see what you were doing, but I guess not. Thank you, the entire Earth. Sounds a bit like landing in snow. Oops. I don't know, Pastel, to be honest. All the new subs, definitely check out the Discord. Lots of people. Yeah. If we go exclamation point Discord, lots of great people in there. So we might want to use a filter or something. The only thing with this is I want the size of the gym to be smaller but it's not that big of a deal. So we could fix this with some EQ. Probably around here. Yeah. Nice. And then if I wanted to make this like have a shorter reflection or whatever, I would use a different convolution, and then I would pull off of this. So that way you still get the short reflections. So like sorry, a shimmer reverb or yeah, something like that, or maybe even backing off of this would be helpful. But that way you can kind of have a mix between something that is the actual kick versus kind of like the impact on the floor. The only thing negative I found about effect stacking is now we can't easily automate parameters in the DAW as they'll overlap. Why don't you just set it to a macro? Because I don't think that those have CC controls anyway. Or you can map each thing to an individual CC control, I believe. So it's not that big of a deal. I don't like this because I have to scroll, and that's really annoying. So I don't like working like this to where I'm like, how many effects are in here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There's only 8 effects on this, and they don't fit in the window. And that's not fun. I don't like having to go up and down and then be like, oh, do this. Oh, if I want to change the LFO, I got to pop back over here. Like the workflow for like really intense sound design, the workflow for Serum is not the best. For some things it's pretty good, but yeah, I don't know. It's cool, but it's yeah, it's not that fun. And look at how many, yeah, so many knobs. Fucking knob fest. I can see the benefits to phase plant here.
Recording to logbook.
Yo, thank you so much, Flubber. Dang, I hadn't seen that movie in forever. Flubber J. Flubber. Yeah, it's not the most fun for sure. But I do think that the engine themselves and the effects themselves are good. There's a couple of like missing components that I'm trying to figure out of like how to push it, but it's not a deal breaker. And I think that the other sounds that I have gotten out of it so far are pretty decent. I'll just call it a little stompy. I think I have time for one more sound before I need to go. Does anybody have any recommendations or questions? Yeah, I made a clap today. I can show you. We only made one, but did a kick. We did a percussion generator. We did a snare. We did. I didn't do a wheel up or like a dub siren this stream, but we do have a wheel up. So that one's very simple. It's just a square wave. Anything else? I mean, really, between a kick, a clap, a snare, percussion stuff. Have I heard of Rossi effects? They sell really cool. No. Would a tambourine be a fun challenge? I mean, we did a crash in like 2 seconds, and that would be the exact same way that I did from before. Literally just throw noise in here and then throw a tambourine in there in the convolution. Right, we did a cowbell as well. Weird cowbell. Conga. Well, I mean, conga is kind of covered in the percussion maker because like you're gonna get something that sounds like a conga. I just don't know when. Dang, that was cool. That last sound, it was very sharp, but yeah. So just kind of at a certain point, this is going to give me something like that. What about a naughty Serum 2 wub stab? What does that even mean? Yeah, so some of that could be a conga. Yeah, there you go. What is a kuika? I don't even know what that is. Or maybe I do, but maybe that's a different, I know it as a different name. The one with a spring and a snare.
You know Harbor Freight for affordability.
You know Harbor
durability
Freight
goes
for
right along with it.
affordability.
You see, we kept-
I've never seen this before.
This Brazilian used in many different situations other than traditional samba. It's unusual.
This would take me a little bit longer than I would know how to do off the top of my head, but maybe tomorrow we can do that. Gyro, gong. Yeah. That is fishing. Sorry, I'm just trolling. Oh no, it's fine. Could just be like
Recording to logbook.
Yo, thank you for the follow, Subturn. So this is probably the way to do it, is to put a compressor on here and turn the threshold up and then turn the gain up. That seems like the way to get this to be louder than, or as loud as I want it to be. But if we can just find, I don't know, someone in here said that if you set this to hard clip, it will go to 0, but I still can't get it up there. Shut up.
Recording to logbook.
Yeah, I don't think that. Yo, thank you, Subconscious. I just left a like because of that Kuika thing. Gotta love Brazilians. Thanks. I'm glad that was the reason to earn a like. That was the one. Hell yeah. Yeah, the distortion is still kind of the last key to figure this thing out. Because you can get it to like get a sound or whatever, but this is so, I feel like Duda really designed this stuff to like gain stage, and I do not work that way. That's one thing that really throws me off about this. I don't want to assume, but that's the vibe that I'm getting from this. I guess we could also, if you wanted to, you could do the dance if you want to. Ding, 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 ding. Thank you. Might be worth throwing a filter through this to sweep those mids, because it's kind of muddy right there. There you go. I think this would just be the way to do it. And so what I can do on this is literally just put this in here, and then I'll start a new patch or whatever, and then just like put the clipper on the outside, so that way I never have to worry about it again. I can make this as loud as I want to, and it'll clip the way that I want it to. It's not that big of a deal, but it's just kind of annoying. Lots of different timbres in here from this, though. Yeah. That's kind of like a wubby lead, yeah? Ish. Wubby lead. I just made me a wubby lead. God dang. Wubby lead. Hang on, bro. Hang on, I'm just wubby lead. Any tips on making Dr. P sweet shop type bass? Yeah, just it's just saws and a sub. Like, I don't know, I think of Trolley Snatcher, right? So just take this and then add detuning to it. But not like that. We want to set the width to 0. And then you want to set this to like an octave lower. I don't want this to, I don't know if you can hear it or not, but right now it's, maybe we do want a little bit of random going on, so that way it doesn't sound like it's doing that weird phasing thing. Yeah, that's a little bit softer. But I mean, once you have something like this, just distort the fuck out of it and then you're fine. Yo, Stephen Opal Welts, thank you so much for the follow. But I mean, this is all there really is to that sound. Get my switch up. Da, 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 da. Something like that. Yeah, that's all there is to this. Ring mod. Yeah, maybe if you're talking about the wub bass or whatever, but the FM stuff, the d d do 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 do, that's just FM. Just FM stuff. Like, look up any 2010 dubstep tutorial and like all that shit will pop up. Take me high. Yeah, it's like I said, it's just FM stuff. With simple sounds too at that, I imagine. You could even like low key like fuck with a bit crusher. Ring mod would work too. But just some kind of FM. Any of this stuff with like this stuff will get you a lot of like very close results. But one thing I would say is don't try to copy a sound exactly. That shit's for the birds. Probably FM. See, You can add a sub to this and just set this to direct out. And I mean, from there, just color it. But I guarantee, like, whatever that person did was most likely, I don't know their name, but whatever Trolley Snatcher did was probably in Massive. Probably with a very, that song is so fucking old, you know? But I'm sure that it was either that or FM8 or FM7 even. But yeah, it's just some kind of FM source or something of the sort. Maybe even another one. Maybe FM from B. Add some noise to that, kind of like so. They might have used like a daft filter or something to make it scream a little bit more. I think there's actually one on there, right? Like a miscellaneous. Scream low pass. Scream. Right, and then if you wanted to do like a tremolo thing or whatever, you could do that too. You would go to the matrix and go to LFO. Let's just use 7 and then go to main tuning. And just very little. Very little. You can add that kind of stuff. It needs to make sense, but yeah. And then part of like what also gives something a lot of high end is like just insane amounts of OTT to where like you're pretty much breaking the sound. But you see how much more high, like more highs that gives you? Abduction sound. Yeah, I do have to go here and, well, I need to leave like right now actually, but yeah, there's all that stuff. So anyway, I got a dip, guys, but I had a lot of fun today. I hope that you all, but I'm also absolutely obsessed with P-Own, No Escape, and would love to be able to, and then do what? That's the thing that you have to ask yourself though. Like, I mean this in the most respectful way, just to paint a picture. But let's say you get access to that sound. What are you going to do with it? You're going to make a better song than Trolley Snatcher with their own sound. You get what I mean? Like, try to get close, but focus on your own stuff. Focus on your own thing, because the reason why you like that sound so much is because of what someone else did. So I'll leave you all with that. You could just modify from the get-go. Hey, Prime, I'm leaving. I'm sorry, but welcome. Hi, bye. much love, guys. I've got a video coming out at in about 2 hours, which is comparing all of the Serum clones and stuff. So check that out in a bit. But thanks for watching. I really appreciate it. Check out alchemy.com if you want to support the channel. Yeah, I don't have anything else. I'll be live sometime tomorrow afternoon. Bye, everybody. Have a great rest of your evening. So in 2 hours for you, wherever you are, Prime.